Good evening, everybody. I'm Seth Eisenberg, like it says on this side, right there. My hand keeps disappearing, right there. And this is the conservative corner, like it says behind me. So if this is where you're supposed to be, good job. If you're not supposed to be here, I don't know what to tell you, but welcome anyway. Hang out. You may like it, you may not. I don't know. It's up to you. Your call. uh, Real busy week. I mean, a lot of things happened, and I'm going to talk about them. If you have anything you want to say or add to anything I'm talking about, just put it into the chat and I'll respond to it as best I can. And if I don't, I'm not ignoring you. I'm probably focused on something else, but I promise if you post it, I will see it and I will try to answer it, or I'll put it on the screen, or whatever it is, I'll do. I will try. I promise. That is my solemn promise to you. I will acknowledge it at least. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Well, it's not over. Still got a couple hours. I hope everybody has a good work week. I know it's kind of weird to say have good work week. Hope it goes by fast. Let's say that. I mean, it's hard to believe that the summer's almost over. I mean, I think my son goes back to school in like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. Not even. I mean, before the end of August, he'll be back in school. I think mid-August he goes back. So yeah, it's almost winding down. It's gonna start getting the days are getting shorter now. It's gonna I hope it gets cooler. I mean, 110 degrees is ridiculous. Walk around with permanent swamp ass. It's not fun. It's not a good feeling. But yeah, but then when they say dog days of August, but then I heard August is supposed to be cooler than July. I don't know. I'm not a weatherman. I'm not gonna try to guess the upcoming weather because that would be a waste of my time. So let's get on with the show. I'll stop rambling. I don't know if anybody knew this week, but we lost some pretty cool people. Just it happens in threes, and it was fours this time. It was usually when we lose someone famous, we're like, yeah, well, okay, yeah, it kind of sucks. That person's gone, but the people we lost this week were like, wow, like really heavy. So the first person we lost is probably a talent. Not probably is it was a talented artist. I mean, changed the whole music scene when him and his group came on. We'll get him up here. This guy right here. Incredible. There was no bad music for him at all. Just really good. I think he was 70. He had his last concert a couple weeks ago, so at least he got to perform one more time, and I'm sure he loved doing that. That was his thing. I mean, that's what he did. But this is War Pigs. I think one of my favorite songs Black Sabbath did. I mean, there's a lot of them, but this is one of my personal favorites. But he'll be missed. I mean, how could he not be? He's Prince of Darkness, isn't he? Give it a second, let him play. He had a good voice too, very distinct, very noticeable, recognizable. Just like witches at black masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction, in the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Then we lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, better known as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. And he had some other credits to him. Apparently, if I remember correctly, he drowned while he was swimming with his son. That's got to be tough on his son. I mean, I can't imagine that being something they could take care of easily. That's going to stick with his son. Great actor and a father. I mean, what more important job could you have than a father? So we lost him too. Again, I mean, these are people we grew up with if you're my age. I mean, you grew up with Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. You grew up with the Huxtables. That was just part of our age group. And then, of course, this man. He's. If you don't know who this guy is, you probably lived in a tree stump in the middle of the woods for the vast majority of your life. That's Hulk Hogan. I mean, come on, brother. Everybody knows who he is. Um, I grew up with him. I mean, I remember watching when it was the WWF before it changed. He was like the man. Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off. All that kind of stuff. He was an entertaining guy. I mean, and people say he was a bad human being. You know what? I don't care. When I was a kid, he was like the shit. It was Hulk Hogan. Who didn't want to be with the 24-inch pythons and all? I mean, he was very entertaining. He did his job well. It's gonna be. We all took a pretty heavy hit this week with these people. I mean, it was. And then Chuck Mangione passed away. I don't know if y'all know who he was. He's a trumpet player, I think jazz, I believe, like a light jazz musician. So, I mean, a lot of talents left this week, a lot. And it's not going to be soon forgotten. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, just a really crappy week when it comes to this kind of stuff. Hopefully we'll get a little break and we won't lose anybody else between now and next week. I don't know, but this week is going to suck. I mean, a lot of good people, a lot of people we grew up with. But what can you do? I mean, old age is a privilege not granted to some people. It's not a guarantee. But they all had good lives. I mean, they enjoyed themselves. They contributed to society in their own way, and they'll leave behind a good memories, and that's all that's important. Is how you remembered. I mean, it sucks they're gone, but they were good people. But yeah, so that's breaking and important news. I know it's not earth-shattering news, but I thought it was important, so I wanted to share that. What are you going to do? Now, from going from good people to shitbirds, we're going to go to a shitbird now. Epstein's associate, Giselle Maxwell, I've read, was going to ask Trump for a pardon, and now her family's approaching, as it says here, to attempt to appeal to Trump to get her a pardon. If you don't know who she was, I don't know how you couldn't. She was Epstein's associate. She helped get the children down to his island so they could be abused. I think she got 20-year sentence a couple of years ago. Got sentenced to 20 years, which I think is very light for what she did. She personally, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think if you deal in this human trafficking or child abuse or child sexual abuse, you should be executed. That's just my opinion. There really should be no, well, we're going to give you 20 years. No, you should get drug out behind the courthouse, drop to your knees, and get a bullet parked in the back of your head and your body tossed into a dumpster. That's just my personal opinion. Again, when it comes to children, it's unforgivable. There's no rehabilitation, in my opinion. There's no, hey, you do 10 years and then you're square. Well, no. You're not a human being. You're an animal, and you should be treated as such and disposed of as such. So I hope and pray that her family's attempts to have her sentence reduced are falling deaf ears. I hope they don't grant her anything and she has to do the full 20. Again, which I think is a joke. 20 years is nothing compared to the lives that she helped ruin. But I hope that she doesn't get a reprieve of any type or any sort. She should do the full 20 at the least. And I hope the people in the prison are taking care of her, because I understand when you're in prison, they find out you've committed crimes against children. Your life expectancy is pretty much cut in half when they find out. And that's how it should be. I mean, and that should tell you something. If prisoners in prison, murderers and robbers and anything look down on child predators, that should just tell you that even if criminals don't like them, there's no redeeming value for them. None. There's nothing that we should try to do. There should be no, like I said, no rehabilitation. Nothing. You've purposely and consciously injured a child. That should be the end. That should be where your story ends, and you should be buried in a shallow grave, unmarked, and your name stricken from anywhere that it was ever mentioned or written. You should be removed from society. And that's just my opinion. Maybe it's a little harsh. I don't know. But if you know me, that's just how I am. That's how it's going to be. Speaking of that, next week I'm going to have a guest. Well, I'm working on getting a guest, and that's her job, is dealing with people who've been the victim of human trafficking, sexual assaults, domestic abuse, all that. We're going to try to get her on next Sunday, and we're going to discuss all that, get into in depth about, everything there is. So I'll keep everybody posted on that during the week. Hopefully that'll come to fruition and we can have her on. And it'll be a really good show. I mean, in good and I mean informative. I don't mean like, hey, yay, human trafficking, woo. It won't be that kind of good. It'll be informative and eye-opening and educational, which is what we need to know what to do with those kind of topics. We need to know and stuff like that. So, yeah, I hope she doesn't get her appeal or pardon or whatever she's trying to get. And I can't believe her family's even asked. I mean, they got to have balls the size of watermelons to ask, hey, can you forgive her for what she did? No, we can't. And I don't even know why you're asking. But that kind of sums up her group of people as well, if they think it's acceptable to ask for her to be forgiven and released from prison, remembering what she was found guilty of and who she was an associate of. It's disgusting. Just no lower form of human life than a child predator. None. I mean, they're below whale shit, and that's pretty low. And again, I could talk about that crap for an hour and a half for the next 7 days straight. But like I said, hopefully we'll have a guest next Sunday that is more educated on that subject than I am and can have a more intelligent conversation about it than me just talking about taking a Louisville Slugger to their head and canoeing them. So yeah, hopefully we'll get her on. And yeah, if you, like I said, there's the comment section. Post something if you want to post it. I'll try to answer it, or we can get into a discussion. That's fine. And also remember to like and subscribe to the America's Pulse Network on the Rumble page. I think you just click follow, and then you follow it, and you get notifications when the podcasts are coming. Follow us on X and all that, but I'll get into that later. Going from one form of child abuse to another, and this is kind of local, but like I always say, if it's happening here, it's not just here. It's happening other places, and you may not be aware of it, may not know about it. Frederick County Public Schools. If you're unaware, and I have notes again, if you're unaware, Frederick County Public Schools this is not their first rodeo when it comes to abusing special needs children. Not at all. Where we find that news? Back in 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice began an investigation into Frederick County Public Schools. They were investigating the overuse of seclusion and restraints that were used on special needs children in the school system, autistic children, children with ADHD, and other special needs students. The school system was found to be in direct violation of the Americans with Disability Act, according to the department. The investigation found at that time 7,200 documented incidences of seclusion and restraints in a 2.5-year period. The incidents almost exclusively affected students living with disabilities. It has later come out that it was over 10,000 times in the time frame. I think it was a 4-year time frame that they investigated. They found that over 10,000 times that happened. The Board of Education at that time, another report came out after the DOJ reports came out by someone running for public office, and he had spoken with the parents and other people who told him that they had called the school system and the school board to report, hey, this is happening to my child. This is happening. or teachers calling and say this was going on. Of course, it fell on deaf ears. Those pieces of shit that were on the Board of Education at that time that ignored it, and I'm not just saying they ignored it, it was in the report by Michael Huff, and you can find it online. These people said they emailed the Board of Education. They spoke with Brad Young, who was the president of the Board of Education in Frederick County at that time, and nothing happened over the 4 years. So you had Brad Young, who was the president of the Board of Education at the time, Teresa Albin, who was the superintendent of schools for our county, April Miller, who was on the Board of Education that somehow got her fat ass elected to Annapolis in Maryland, who ignored the children being abused, according to parents and people who spoke with Mr. Huff. I can't remember who else was on there. Just people who flat out ignored what was being told to them. And then, denied they knew, even though these parents said, well, we've emailed them. I've spoke to them. I mean, there was a gentleman on the radio here when this happened that has called in and to a radio station, said he spoke directly to Brad Young about what was going on with his wife, who was a teacher, and he was ignored. And apparently she quit teaching because of what happened. So those idiots somehow managed to stay. Well, staying in the public eye in Frederick County doesn't mean it's a very low bar. People in Frederick County don't really give a shit about kids. Obviously, they promoted these people to higher positions in government. But I haven't forgotten. I think what they did, again, is unforgivable. Just so everybody knows, at no time have any criminal charges ever been filed because of this. No one has ever had to go to court. No one was ever arrested. No one's ever stood in front of a judge. Nothing happened to any of these people. Nothing. Which is more disgusting than anything else. That just makes me want to vomit. So those people I mentioned walked away scot-free. Never had to answer any questions to anybody, even though the DOJ found them in direct violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Nobody stood a case. And it's happening again. This young man, Atlas Sater, I believe is his name, is autistic. And he goes to Blue Heron School here in Frederick County, Maryland. And as most, my grandson's autistic, so I kind of have an understanding of that. They get overwhelmed. There's too much going on, and they don't know. They're not like me and you. They deal with it differently than we would. Apparently, he ran out of the classroom and ran into a hall or a stairway, and the bottom door was locked. The teacher called the principal. The principal came in, who was very upset. And apparently, if I understand the article right, they locked the top door and kept him in there for a couple of minutes to calm down. I don't understand why they would do that. Why not just sit with the kid, let him get it out of his system or whatever? It doesn't say anywhere in the article that he was violent, that he was attacking people. He just ran out of the classroom because apparently he was overwhelmed. And apparently Frederick County still hasn't got the hint when the DOJ says, hey, you all have violated rights. You need to straighten up and start training your people. Apparently they haven't got the hint. There's a gentleman on the Board of Education now, Dean Rose, when he was interviewed, kind of muddied the waters, didn't really seem concerned, said there could be more facts. He was going to hold back, didn't want to say anything. This is the same Dean Rose, again, who ran for Board of Education and wept like a baby, talking about the DOJ investigation, saying they were going to get to the bottom of it. He felt it broke his heart. All sorts of bullshit to get elected. The man is scum. He's a liar, obviously, because he's not doing anything about this. He's more worried about, hey, let's wait till all the facts come out. Here's the facts, asshole. A autistic kid was overwhelmed, ran out of the classroom, ran into a stairwell. He was locked in the stairwell for a couple minutes, and you're in violation of the DOJ and Frederick County Public Schools agreement. I don't know much more you need to hear about, idiot. Do I need to write this out in crayons for you? Do you need pictures drawn for you so you understand what happened? These people are embarrassing, and they're elected in Frederick County by other embarrassing people who don't care about children. Obviously, you can't care about children if you elect people like him to the Board of Education. You can't. And again, this is in the article with the Frederick News Post, where he's, let's wait. Very hem-hawish, not really, condemning anything. The only good thing that I've read so far is the principal of the school has resigned. Now, I don't know if she resigned freely or she was kind of like, hey, you got two choices here. You can resign or we're going to fire you. This is what I was talking about before. Thousands of incidents, thousands. We're not talking 10, 15 times or a couple hundred times over, a couple of years. Thousands over a 4-year period they were found in direct violation of. And again, nothing has happened to anybody that was on the Board of Education. Nothing has happened to anybody involved with the schools when this happened. Nothing. It's all been forgotten and forgiven. I mean, who cares, really? I mean, it's old news. It's water under the bridge. No apologies have ever been made. Just really disgusting people involved in this whole situation. The victims are, of course, the students and the students' families, but the perpetrators are everybody in government in Frederick County that has decided not to do anything about it, that want to hem and haw about it, that want to hold people accountable. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I always err on the side of caution when it comes to children. If there's a child involved, I will take their side until something shows me or something is explained to me that I shouldn't. The kid's autistic. It's all I need to know. That doesn't excuse everything he does. That explains it. The kid's overwhelmed. He runs out of class. Why are you going to get pissy with him? What is that going to accomplish? What is it, locking him in a stairwell? What is that going to, or holding him in the stairwell? What is that going to accomplish? How is that going to relax him? I'm not an expert. I'm not a child psychologist. I'm not a social worker. I'm none of that. But something tells me, and I'm going to call it common sense, that someone who's that stressed out, restricting them to a smaller confined space probably isn't the best idea. Maybe sitting with them and just sitting next to them and being there is probably more helpful than anything else you can do. But apparently in Frederick County, they know better than the DOJ. They're going to continue doing what they want to do. And these morons will keep getting reelected onto the Board of Education, which, by the way, if you're looking at local politics, that is the most important election there is. That is the single most important election anywhere when it comes to local politics. Those are the people that are in charge of making sure your children are learning and being prepared for the future, for time out of school. So we have these morons that are trying to help prepare students and just don't care. I mean, these people don't care. If they cared, they'd be screaming and yelling and demanding accountability, demanding answers, and they're not. I mean, we have Colt Black on our Board of Education, Jamie Brennan, and Nancy, and I can't remember her name. I feel bad. Nancy. If anyone knows Nancy's last name, please post it so I don't feel like an idiot. But those are the three conservatives on the Frederick County Board of Education who are fighting a losing battle because they're outnumbered 4-3. Nothing they want to pass passes because the other four morons who are more concerned about social justice and being woke and making sure boys can use girls' restrooms are in charge. And that should scare you. If after this happened, anybody in Frederick County supports any liberal for the Board of Education, you need your fucking head examined. You need to go see a shrink and go, look, I am fucking crazy. I've got the IQ of a flip-flop. I need help. Put me on meds. But they won't because these people are a danger to themselves. I mean, these are the same people, parents who go to school and complain that their son can't use the girls' bathroom or their son can't play on girls' sports. These are the same parents that will support these people are the ones doing that. They're doing far more damage to their own children and other children than they will ever realize. They think they're doing the right thing. They think people like me who think a boy should go to the boys' room and a girl should go to the girls' room, somehow I'm transphobic. I'm afraid of trans people. Number one, we're talking about children whose testicles haven't fully dropped out of their body yet. They haven't gone through puberty, but they know, these parents know that that's not supposed to be a boy, it's supposed to be a girl. I got to zen out for a second because it upsets me. When I was 11, I wanted to be a cowboy or a firefighter or an astronaut. When I turned 16, I wanted to be a race car driver, someone famous. When I turned 18, I joined the military. When I turned 25, I got into management. I didn't feel the same way year to year to year as a child, to the point where I'm glad my parents didn't take me seriously. I've wanted to be a pirate. I'm glad they didn't whack off one of my legs, gouge out my eye, give me a wooden peg leg and an eye patch, and start calling me Blackbeard. Those are the kind of parents that support the Board of Education. They don't want to be parents. They want to be friends. So they're not going to see any problem with the Board of Education ignoring this and going about it. They're not going to see any problem with the fact that they've already been investigated in Frederick County and found to have violated the American with Disabilities Act 10,000 times. 10,000 times they abused special needs students. And what do I mean by abused? overuse of seclusion and restraints. Do I think that sometimes it needs to happen? No, I really don't. I can't imagine an elementary school kid so out of control that you have to put him on the ground and restrain him and then put him in a seclusion room. I can't see any situation unless he has a weapon where that's needed. I don't. And if the teachers don't have another way to handle it, that's the Board of Education's fault and the school system's fault for not providing the training they should have given them. But it's continuing. It's going on still. They're still abusing special needs students in Frederick County. Parents, some in general, I'm not saying every parent, in general, parents could care less because it doesn't affect their kids. And as long as their son can use the girls' bathroom or play in girls' sports, they could care less because that's really what's important. This poor autistic kid was probably scared shitless getting in that stairwell. I mean, I just don't, I don't. This is what I was talking about before. Maryland State Senator Mike Huff said a former Public County School Superintendent treats. This is true. After the DOJ report, she received an $800,000 retirement package. After the DOJ said they have violated the American with Disability Act, $800,000 retirement package. With a golden parachute, after the DOJ report said the school system overused restraints and seclusions on students with disabilities. She made money. And like you said, he said Frederick County Public Schools and the Board of Education were well aware of the issues of seclusion and restraint before the DOJ report was made public. So I'm not making it up. Even a state senator said they knew about it because he talked to parents that alerted the Board of Education to this. So this is not Frederick County's first rodeo with child abuse in the school system. And I can guarantee you, based on the morons that are running the show now, not the three I spoke of, Nancy, Colt, and Jamie, it's going to continue. It's not going to get better. I mean, if the DOJ tells you, in a report tells you, hey, you're in violation of the American with Disabilities Act, and you continue to let it happen, you've done nothing. Obviously, you've done nothing to correct the issue because it's still happening. You don't care. You don't care. And Dean Rose can cry and weep and act like a little kid all he wants to because I don't buy it. And unfortunately, or hopefully this time, no one buys his bullshit crocodile tears again because he didn't do anything about it the first time. There's been no, like I said, no investigations. Nobody's been held accountable for the 10,000 other incidences of abuse of children. Nothing's going to happen with this. Like I said, the only good thing I've heard so far is that teacher retired from being a teacher. And I don't even know if that, maybe she did retire. I don't know if she was pressured into it. And I don't know why there's no charges filed. Why is nobody held accountable? That's what irks me. When it comes to children, no one's been held accountable. So now we have 10,001 incidents of violation of Americans with Disabilities Act happening in Frederick County Public Schools. And up to date, no one's been held accountable. That should aggravate you. That should just piss you off beyond words. These are children who are vulnerable to begin with. And now we're talking about autistic children or children with mental or with learning disabilities. Makes them even more vulnerable. And they're in a place where they have to be. They have no choice. You have to go to school. And they got to face this. I can't imagine being a parent. I'd be afraid to send my kids with special needs in Frederick County Public Schools. I'd be afraid. Now, of course, somewhere down the road, I'm probably going to get some nasty email from some woke parent that says, my kid's got special needs and never had any problems. Well, you know what? For those people, save your time, save your fingers, and I'll tell you right now, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Believe it or not, there's a world outside your 3-foot bubble and other shit goes on that you may never know about. But guess what? It happens. That's simple. And that's why I always say homeschool if you can. Get your kids out of public school. I mean, especially in Frederick County. If you have a special needs kid, get them out of public schools as soon as you can. They don't care. If they don't care if the DOJ told them they have to stop doing it, they don't care. I think the only thing that's going to make them care is if they start arresting people. If they start making people stand in front of a judge and explain what they knew, when they knew, why they didn't do anything. Then they'll start to care. But as it stands right now, they don't care. Obviously, it's been going on since 2020. And they haven't changed it. Well, that's when the report came out in 2020. And they haven't changed it. And they went to an agreement with the DOJ that, hey, we're going to train our people. This won't happen again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. I keep telling everybody, Board of Education is the most important election you will ever vote in. The most. And when it comes to the Board of Education, you have to elect the most conservative person running. You have to. You have to, because if not, you get liberals like this in Frederick County, and this shit happens in the schools. Abuse. No one's getting educated. They're more worried about social justice stuff. They're more worried about getting their 90-pound heads in front of cameras and being invited to all the dinner parties. That's what they're concerned about. They're not concerned about your kids. And like I said, if it's happening here, it's happening other places. Don't assume it's not happening in your school system. Just because, like I said, you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Get your kids out of public school. Homeschool them. Send them to a private school. But when you send them to a private school, make sure they're not getting any federal funding, because if they get any federal funding, then they have to follow the same rules and regulations that a public school does. Make sure. Homeschooling is the best. That's just it's not even an opinion. There's studies that show homeschool students do better than public school students. It's just, my advice is homeschool. That you can't go wrong, because then you're in complete control of what your child learns and what they do, and your child is not left into the hands of barbarians that have no business being around students, like the principal at this school. I mean, the kid's autistic. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any autistic family members or has a friend who has autistic children. They're ultra sensitive. That's why they are the way they are. They feel everything at one time. Like I can be happy and then turn that off and do something else. Everything hits them at one time. It's overwhelming for them. That's why they kind of like withdraw, because that's the only way they can cope. So if that kid ran out of that classroom, you have to understand how overwhelmed he was. He's already overwhelmed to begin with, but can you imagine the level of overwhelming he had to be at that point to leave the classroom? I can't imagine. And he's in 4th grade, so he's a little kid anyway. So yeah, I feel for the kid. I feel for his parents. More for the child or the student than the parents, because the parents weren't there. They didn't live through it. He did. And I'm sure that's something he'll remember for the rest of his life. I mean, poor guy. I hope those parents sue the shit out of the public school system in Frederick County. I hope they sue them into the ground. I hope they sue them so bad that the schools have to shut down. I hope so. Nothing would make me feel better than knowing that this factory, because that's what it is. It's not an institution of learning. It's a factory that churns out workers. Nothing would make me feel better knowing that they got shut down because they couldn't afford it anymore and it had to be rebuilt up from the ground up. And then we can get the right people to run the show, like Colt, Nancy, and Jamie. People like that who care about kids, who care about their well-being, and are more concerned with doing the right thing than doing the popular thing. Okay, I've ranted enough about that. I apologize. So we're going to go right now to pay some bills, then we're going to come back and talk about some other schmucks.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So yeah, it's not just me. There's a couple other people on the network too. You got Alexandra, you got Damon the Hammer, both really good people, very intelligent. They put on really good shows. Again, if you make sure you follow and like us on Rumble, just the whole network. That way you get notifications when any of us come on. And on X, I think they're pretty good. I think they're better than me. No, this is not coffee. It's chocolate milk. I know. I got to quit with the chocolate milk. It's ridiculous. I'm like addicted to chocolate milk. And I don't know why. It's not good for you. But I drink it like water. Maybe I should drink water. I don't know. So, talking about more schmucks. We kind of talked about this on Wednesday night at 8 on the Pulse. I don't know if you'll watch that. Pam Bondi has come up and said she's found proof that Obama was involved with the, with the fake Russian dossier on Trump trying to derail his election and pretty much lied about everything. I'm not surprised. This is the same guy that has brought the country or made the country as divided as it is now. I mean, this is the same guy that said recently that every boy should have a gay man as a friend. I don't know why. And not against gay people, but I don't know why that would even need to. Why do you have to make that statement? Why? Can you imagine what would happen if Trump said that? Or if Trump had said, hey, every young man should have a priest as a friend or some religious person as a friend. They would have lost their shit over that. But not with this putz. Once again, it's a double standard. Liberals can say and do whatever they want to do, but God forbid if somebody else says the same thing or does it, then it's wrong. They're going to call it and scream and yell and cry, and that's not right. They can't do that. So this grinning idiot said the thing about every young man should have a gay friend is also probably a traitor. I mean, I'm assuming that Pam Bondi's not lying. I'm assuming what she has is fact. I'm assuming that she's not making anything up. So if we're going on the assumption that everything is correct, he's a traitor, and he should be jailed. That's simple. He should spend the rest of his life in prison. Anybody associated with that should be a cellmate or on the same cell block as him, because you don't do that. And I would say the same damn thing if it were a Republican that had done that to a Democrat, had made up this whole crap and tried to do things to them and lied. I'd be saying the same thing. They should spend the rest of their life in jail. They're a traitor, and they should never see the light of day. So I don't want to hear anybody saying, well, you would say it was okay if a Republican did it. No, it's not okay for anybody to do. Crime's crime. It doesn't matter who perpetrates it. A crime is a crime. And just because one person does it over another person doesn't make it right. It's still wrong. Oh, he said everybody should have a gay mentor. Gay mentor. Okay, so I was wrong. I didn't mean friend. He said mentor. So there was no need for that statement for this idiot to make. I mean, I didn't realize he was the spokesman for the LGBTQT 95 purple waffle brown beaver, whatever it is now. I don't know. But now he's the official spokesman. But if what they said is true, like I said, then he needs to spend the rest of his life in jail. I don't give a shit if he's the president of the U.S. or the king of the world. If it's found to be the truth, he needs to do some time. And a lot of it, not just some. This is what she said, or Tulsi Gabbard said, there's irrefutable evidence that details how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation, of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered with the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to American people as though it were true, and it wasn't. I'll leave that there for a second so you can read it. If this is true, if they have irrefutable evidence that shows this, then yes, he's a traitor, and he should do the rest of his life in jail. And anybody that helped him do it or is aware of this and doesn't come forward now should also spend the rest of their life in jail, without a question. And again, doesn't matter which side of the aisle they'd be on, they need to do time. They need to spend the rest of their lives in jail. So yeah, like I said, it's why, number one, in this day and age, why would anybody in that position think what they say or what they do is not going to leak out. I mean, everything they do in the White House is recorded. Everything they say, everywhere they go, whoever comes and goes, it's recorded. So I can't. That just kind of shows the intelligence level of these people. Number two, if you tell more than yourself a secret, you fully expect it to get out. The only way to keep a secret is tell no one, or you kill everybody that knows the secret other than you. That's the only way to keep a secret because it's going to get out, obviously. I'm sorry, I was calling my name. So why people nowadays think, hey, I can do this, no one will ever find out, is ridiculous. It's like if you post something on Facebook and you delete it. It's there. It's going to be there forever. Your kids are going to see it when they get a Facebook page. Same thing with the West. If you say something or write something down, you should just automatically assume there's a copy of it somewhere. Somebody's seen it. There's a picture of it. There's a recording of it. I don't understand why these morons in government try to do secret things against other people in the government, because it's going to come out. There's no way it can't come out. It's astonishing. I would love to know these people's thought process. Like, oh, if I just tell him, no one will ever know. We could get away. No, jackass, someone's going to find out. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. There's no such thing as a perfect crime. No such thing. I think I read somewhere when you commit a crime, you make like 15 mistakes that you don't even know about. 15. And that's probably an average. If it were me making a crime, since I've never done one before, I'd probably make like 300. And they'd catch me before the sun set that day. So, yeah, I don't get it why people, I mean, if you don't like Trump, that's fine. Then campaign against him. Do everything above board. Then no one can complain about it. Then no one's going to come back on you. If you do everything above board, it's fine. Really. You can talk crap about the guy. You can call him a moron. Do whatever you want to do, but make it legal. Because now you lose any credibility. If this is all true, what little credibility Obama had is now gone. Now he's a criminal. If this is all true, he's a criminal. No other way around it. If this evidence is irrefutable and it points to him, he's now a criminal. He's not the former president of the U.S. He's inmate 279-3261 in cell block D. That's how he'll be remembered. And that's how it should be. I mean, like I said, I don't agree with President Trump on everything. And I don't think anybody I know agrees with him on everything. That's just how it is. But I would never in a million years make up lies about somebody I didn't agree with to try to get them out of their job. That's just low class. That's low rent. I don't know why, again, a person in this position thinks no one will know that it was him that was doing it. That somehow he'll be the one that gets away with it. This is the same idiot that had the beer summit with the cop, I think it was from Boston, and the professor. What kind of moron does that? What kind of idiot? The more I read about this stuff and hear about it and look into it, the less I want to know. I mean, these people are just jackasses. And it's not just a liberal problem. There's jackasses on the Republican side, too. It's just mind-boggling. And that's true. Once Donald J. Trump won, Obama doubled down on the discredit to try to discredit Trump. I mean, the stupidity never stops. It's ongoing. It's like a bottomless pit of stupidity that these people could draw from. And again, I'm not saying this is strictly a liberal issue. There are some Republicans that are just as stupid as liberals. But it just seems that Republicans really don't make up lies to try to get someone unelected. They don't make up false intelligence reports to do it. At least I don't think they have. I've never heard of it. Liberals do that. They write shit down. Maybe Republicans are smart enough not to write anything down. And maybe liberals are just too stupid to not write anything down. I don't know. But I just don't understand why anybody in this day and age, especially in that position, thinks they could get away with anything. I mean, it's recorded. Somebody somewhere heard you. Duh. And then he came out and said that the allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt to distract people from the Epstein crap. I don't know if anybody. I don't. I've talked about her a couple times, so I'm not sure if anybody knows. But my mother was not a book smart woman, but she had wisdom to give. I mean, she just had street smarts. It was insane. She was like a Zen master. And I'm sure your parents have said this too, but my mom used to tell me all the time, only a hit dog cries. And I never knew what that meant for the longest time. Like, well, yeah, you hit a dog with a rock or whatever, yeah, it's going to cry. If you hit me with a rock, I'm going to cry. As I got older, I realized what it meant, that if you didn't do anything wrong, you're not going to react. Why react? You didn't do it. No sense in reacting. Former President Obama reacted. Only a hit dog cries. You don't proclaim your innocence if you're innocent. You don't have to, because you know. I'm not guilty. Why would you say that unless you thought you were? Or you're trying to convince everybody else that you're not? The man obviously has some involvement with what happened. And that's why they're saying irrefutable evidence. And he's like, I didn't do it. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm sure it is. If it were ridiculous, why are you even responding? Why dignify it with a response if it's so ridiculous and a weak attempt? Why are you wasting any time acknowledging it? Seems to me if it were such a weak and feeble and ridiculous attempt, you just whatever. Y'all say what you want to say, don't care, I'm not involved. And going about my business. But if he's stopping and having a spokesman answer, only a hit dog cries. And I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's really not involved at all. Maybe Trump's people are lying. Maybe this is reversed. Maybe they're making everything up. But I don't think so. I tend to believe that there's irrefutable evidence that shows that he was involved. I hope not. And not just because that's how we are. I hope not, because that will make the country look bad. As bad as they think, the liberals think the country looks down because of Trump, this will make us even worse. Look even worse in the eyes of the world. If this is the truth. And it should. If we got former presidents making up lies about people running for office, we should be embarrassed. And we should reevaluate our whole political system. And I don't mean change it. I mean, we need to reevaluate how candidates are selected. If this is the best the Democrats can put up as a liar and a traitor, then we really need to reevaluate that. We need to look at, maybe there should be like an IQ test required to run for political office. I don't know, but if this is the truth, something needs to change because it's an embarrassment. And not that Obama would be ashamed or humiliated. None of them would be, because they would justify it in their own heads. But we would have to start vetting candidates much, much deeper and better. And we would also have to do away with this, well, we're not going to look into it. It's, no, we need to investigate shit like this, like our lives depended on it. So I hope it's not true. For the sake of the country, I hope it's not true. In my heart of hearts, I kind of already think it's true. And like my mom said, only a hit dog cries.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
So now we're going from one schmuck to a group of schmucks. I don't know if anybody's really following what's going on in New York with the mayoral race. I think the one guy getting the most, coverage, is I can't remember his name, and I don't want to say it anyway because I don't want the guy to have any more, any more airtime than he's getting. Zorhan Mamadani, that idiot right there. Rabid anti-Semite. I mean, just rabid. Wants to have like free grocery stores or some community grocery stores where it's free daycare. Wants to tax people who live in bigger houses more money. I mean, the dude's a communist to his bone, anti-Semite communist. And he won the nomination in the city for mayor for Democrats, which is ridiculous. Just when you think the level of stupidity for liberals has plateaued, they find yet another level that we didn't know exists that they just jump onto and nominate this guy. Jewish people voted for this guy. He has used the phrase globalize the intifada. I'm not pronouncing it right. Which is pretty much an anti-Semite phrase. It's pretty much saying it calls for violence against Israel. If you're calling for violence against Israel, you're calling for violence against Jews. There's no way around it. People can split hairs all they want. They can say, oh, no, that's not what it means. It means blood. That's exactly what it means. And he's all for it. I think he's said it himself. I think he refuses to really condemn October 7th and things of that nature. But Jewish people in New York voted for this man. I can't imagine why you would do that. I mean, that's kind of like if you're a chicken, voting for Colonel Sanders. Why would you do that? The guy doesn't like you. He's going to eat you. This man doesn't like Jews. He's not going to help you. So why would you vote for him? It's like voluntarily, like drinking poison, thinking it's going to hurt the other person that you don't like. It's not going to work. It's going to hurt you. Why would you vote for this man? I don't understand the reasoning some people have. Oh, I'm sick. Maybe I should go see Dr. Kevorkian. I mean, that's the same thing as voting for this guy if you're a Jew. It's astonishing. And I want to say that maybe they have good intentions or maybe their heart's in the right place, but I just keep going back to the public education system. These are people that have graduated from the public education system, that have gone to Ivy League schools, that are supposed to be educated, that are supporting a man who pretty much wants the government to control every aspect of their life in New York. Everything. And they're applauding and holding him up like, hey, this guy's great. And then they will turn around and complain when New York turns to like an absolute shithole. Not that it's great now, but it's going to get worse if they elect this guy. They hear the word free and people are like, oh, yay, free. But they don't understand the government doesn't produce anything that they can charge for to make money. So when they say free, what they're really saying is you, the taxpayer, are going to pay for this. But we're going to call it free because it's not coming out of my pocket. So it's free. To me, it's free, but you're going to pay for it. So these free community grocery stores are not free. They're taxpayer subsidized. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You want to destroy the economy of a city? That's exactly what you do. We're not going to have grocery stores anymore. We're going to have free ones. People are going to leave. I'm not going to live in a city where my taxes are going to pay for somebody else's groceries when I'm struggling to pay for my own. Because I'm just going to stop working. Like, well, I don't need to make money. I can go get free food from the community grocery store. So why the hell am I busting my ass 50 hours a week, missing time with my family, when I can just go down there and get free food? And now I can get free daycare, free medical. I mean, why do I need to work? And that's the whole goal behind the liberal system, is to have you sucking on the government tit from the second you're born to the second you die. Because if you're dependent on the government, they own you. You're going to do whatever they tell you to do when they tell you to do it. Because if you don't, you're just going to shut it off. You're not going to get food. You're not going to have a house. You're not going to have medical. You're not going to have daycare. They're going to take it all away from you. And I know that sounds very conspiratorial and like, oh, put on your tinfoil hat, Seth. I'm just telling you how it would work. That's why I'm a big supporter of cash. Cash, not credit cards, not ATMs, cash. Have cash on you at all times. Even if it's only 20 or 30 bucks, have some cash. The minute we give up and go, yeah, let's go all digital currency, once again, you've given up control. You've given you control of your money to the banking system or the government. Because if it's all on a computer, all they got to do is push a button and you're broke. Instantly, you're broke. Or you can't access your money anymore. Whatever they want to do is all the push of a button. Can't get to it. If you have cash, what are they going to do? Come physically take it from you? I mean, I'm sure there's things they could do if you had cash, but make it difficult. Don't blindly let them lead you to slaughter. Keep cash. Another thing I learned when it comes to that kind of thing, currents, like if there's ever a big, huge natural disaster or something happens in the country, honey. Apparently, honey is good as gold. Never goes bad. It's medicinal. You can eat it. You can survive on it. I mean, I know people that have like jars and jars and jars and jars and jars of honey for that very reason. I mean, they found honey in tombs in Egypt in the pyramids, and all they had to do was melt it. It solidified. All they do is heat it up, melt it, and they could eat it. It wasn't hazardous, wasn't dangerous. It was still edible. So yeah, they say honey's a good thing to have. I like honey. I got a couple jars. Not enough to like fund myself. God forbid something happens. But I got enough honey here to make sure I could get my chocolate milk. I could trade for it. I got to get off this chocolate milk thing, man. I don't know what it is. Like all of a sudden, like 3 weeks ago, I just like, bam, I got to have chocolate milk. I mean, I've gone through like 4 or 5 gallons. It's ridiculous. And I know it's not good for you. It's not good for you. All right, back to what I was talking about. And I don't even want to say shining light in the New York mayoral election, but I guess he's less dangerous to people than Madani or Mabadani, whatever his name is. This is Curtis Silva. Used to be in charge of the Guardian Angels in New York. He's running for mayor. And that's his beret, is his trademark. And anytime I've seen a picture of him, he's always had that on way back in the day till today. Apparently, he's starting to make a show. His big issue is apparently business owners didn't like him in New York, and he's made strides and efforts to reach out to them. I think this week he had a big meeting with some business owners in New York, and I think it went well, according to the article. And then again, it's an article written by people that support him, so of course he's going to come out smelling like a rose regardless of what happened. But he's running, and I don't think I think there's another conservative candidate, but I think he's the most conservative running. And when you're looking at that and thinking, I hope he wins, I hope the Guardian Angel guy wins, you know you're in trouble. And I'm not knocking him. I mean, he's got some pretty good platforms and ideas, great guy. But if that's what you're hanging your hat on, you're in trouble. You're in real trouble. I mean, do I think he can win? Honestly, no. I don't think he can win, unfortunately. I think it's going to be another liberal. I'm just hoping that New York wakes up at enough time and doesn't elect the anti-Semite communist, and they kind of wake themselves up before it gets too late and they go another direction. It is New York, though, so there's no telling what those fools are going to do. Eric Adams, who's the current mayor of New York, is running. He's a conservative, pro-business Democrat. He's running more like an independent now. I don't know. I guess when you're looking at piles of dog crap, trying to figure out which one is better than the other, I guess when it comes to piles of dog crap, if a Republican has to win, probably him would be best. Still a pile of dog crap, still going to be stinky. It's still shit, but it's not as bad as the other pile of shit that you're being forced on. That's not saying much. I don't. Him. Didn't he have nipple rings or some crap like that? Or was that somebody else? I don't know. Ex-governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, pro-Israel, as it says, moderate who promises to keep the Democrat Party from falling off the left edge of the map. He's still a Democrat. He's still got some really crazy ideas. Again, we're comparing piles of dog crap to one another. Take it for what it is. And then there's this guy. He's an independent, pretty feisty. I wouldn't go so far as to say he's a lib, but I wouldn't go the other way and say he's a conservative. He's probably middle of the road, slightly right-leaning, slightly. Again, we're comparing piles. Here's another pile. I don't think, short of there being an upset and Curtis Silva winning, I don't think New York is going to survive if Madani, or whatever his name is elected. I think that will be the end of New York as we know it, which would be unfortunate. I mean, I have family in New York. I was born in New York. So it would be sad to see it sink even further into the septic tank than it already is. But I have a horrible feeling that if that Madani guy wins, it's, like I said, it won't be in New York that any of us remember moving forward. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in New York. It's been a few years. So, yeah, there's all that. And once you think it's just there, hold on to your hats here, folks. We got this putz in Minneapolis, Omar Fatas. This guy's just like Zoran in New York. Same exact thing. Doesn't want to have police, wants to have peace officers. And it's not what you think. It's unarmed people walking around trying to keep the peace. I believe Omar is like Ilhan, Somali. I think he's a Somali. Doesn't care about America, doesn't give a crap about American citizens, really just wants to help his own people and change Minneapolis into a war zone, just to a third world nation where you pretty much do whatever you want to do because nobody cares. And if you haven't got the reoccurring theme, people like him, progressive socialists, whatever they want to call themselves, communists, want to destroy America and rebuild it up into what they think it should be, where everything is free, nobody has to work, and the government takes care of everything for you. You won't need to work. You won't need to worry about your groceries. They will take care of everything for you. All you have to do is pledge blind obedience to our dear leaders, and they'll take care of everything else. And if you don't, I got some bad news for you. It ain't going to be pretty. And it won't get any better. This is the way the country's going. I think there should be a law, and I've read it on a couple of social media posts, that to run for office in America, anywhere, you should have to be a natural citizen. And I agree with that. I think you should be a naturally born citizen to be in any political position in this country. I don't think you should be able to move from another country, get a green card, then run for office. I don't think that's how it should be. I really don't. And if that makes me wrong or a xenophobe, that's fine. I can live with that. Because if you're coming from another country to this country, your heart is always going to be where you're from. That's your homeland. You're not going to be so concerned about America, and you're going to want to change things just a little bit to make it feel more like home. Maybe we don't got to do this because we did this where I'm from, so let's do that here. Or I don't think we should have to pay for stuff, so let's just not pay for things. Make things free, not knowing that's not how shit works, that nothing is free the government provides. I really think that should be a law. I think should have to be a citizen, a natural-born citizen, to represent other natural-born citizens in this country. Will I think that will ever happen? No, I really don't. I think there's too many bleeding heart liberals and too many people concerned about looking cool at their next cocktail party to ever vote that. That would definitely be an America First platform. And I would be on board with that. It doesn't make us wrong. It doesn't make us racist. We're just saying, hey, if you want to represent America, then you need to be an American, born an American. Right or wrong, that's how I feel. And I also think, like I said, there should be IQ tests or something involved with running for office, because as we've seen here, some of the people that run for office are none too bright. What's that? Talisha Rashid or Rashibi or whatever. They have a video of her on Facebook beating on a pot in front of the Congress to support Palestine. I'm still not understanding how beating on a pot or a pan is somehow in line with supporting Palestine. In her twisted, sick fucking head, there's a connection of some sort. But to those of us that have a functioning IQ, you just look like a moron beating on a pan in front of Congress that does absolutely nothing to help anybody. But that's what I'm saying. These people come from other countries and just don't give a crap about America. They don't. Ilhan Omar, there you go. She wants to make her area more like Somalia. I mean, these people have said it. And they get, well, you know why she gets reelected? Because most of her constituents are Somali or Muslim. Some things have got to change in this country, and they got to change soon. Or it's not going to be the country that we all remember. And again, this doesn't make you xenophobic, doesn't make you racist, doesn't make you anything. It just makes you aware of what's going on and the fact that some of these changes these people want to make aren't in our best interest as a country. Am I saying everybody from another country that comes here has poor ideas and we shouldn't listen to them? I'm not saying that at all. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that America is the only country in the world that has great ideas. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to change the rules a little bit. It's just me. Just me. So for the last segment, I kind of want to get off the serious note, because you can't talk politics all the time. You can't. You'll go crazy. I mean, trust me. You'll lose your stuff. So what I want to talk about, I don't even know how serious it is, but people are starting to take it seriously, so I figured it'd be something I'd want to address and talk about. Here it is. A mystery object spotted in space may be an alien spacecraft coming to attack Earth. I don't know if you've heard about this, but apparently there's an object at the edge of our universe coming this direction that they say is giving off radio transmissions or something. And some people think it may be an alien spacecraft that is coming towards us to attack us. I'm not making that up. That's what some people think. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. I looked at this to try to look at it seriously, like, okay, let me put myself in these people's shoes. From what I've read, it hasn't changed direction. It hasn't slowed up or sped up. So it's been at a constant speed, which kind of tells me maybe it's not a spacecraft or something, because at some point it would have to slow down or make a course adjustment and it would change. But apparently, from what I've read, nothing has happened in that vein, constant direction. So maybe it's just space junk. Who knows? Maybe it's just a big rock, an asteroid. Who knows? But there are people who are convinced that could possibly be a spacecraft, and we should be prepared. We should track it, and if they attack us, we need to have some type of game plan. There's not enough problems on this planet. Now we're making up problems from another planet coming to us. I mean, I can't imagine living a life where you don't think there's enough going on here that we got to make something up that's happening out there. ET's coming to kick our ass, and we got to get ready for it. Or we're all going to be intergalactic slaves or something like that. It's hard to take these people seriously. It really is. I mean, like I said, if this thing could change direction or sped up or slowed down or something like that, then there's an argument there. Okay, obviously it's not just a rock because it's slowed up or it's changed course. So there's something moving it. That would be concerning. We go, okay, well, it's moving in a different direction now. But like I said, from all I've read, it's not. And this will make you laugh. This is what some people think it looks like. That's an artist's impression of what the object looks like in our system. Looks like a rock the size of Manhattan, so it's pretty big, but it could be a hostile alien spacecraft that may attack Earth in November. And that's according to a new study. Who did this study? Was it a bunch of fifth graders sitting around and drew this and said, look, this is aliens. They're coming to get us. It'll happen on Thanksgiving. I want to know who does these studies and how they came to the conclusion that this is what an alien spacecraft would look like. And they're going to attack us in November, possibly in November. I try to put myself in their shoes. I tried to go, okay, what would I say? How would I think? And I can't get to where they're at. I can't. I'm not saying they're wrong. Maybe there's a 1% chance that they're right and this is an alien spacecraft. I don't know. I'm willing to bet that it's not. I'm willing to bet November's going to come and go and nothing's going to change. I don't think we're going to be invaded by little green men. I don't think this is going to turn into, what's that movie? Mars Attacks. I think it's just a rock in space that's traveling towards us. The only thing we got to worry about is it going to hit the planet. That's a concern. That's the only concern I have. I'm not concerned that it's a manned alien spacecraft and they're preparing to invade our world. I don't think so. Again, like I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm not in NASA. Maybe there's information they're not giving us, but I'm willing to bet we're going to be just fine come November. I really don't think we have to worry about it. And I know some people, that's all they like to do is worry and make up problems where there are none because that's just how they live. I choose to live the other way. Unless there's a legitimate reason to be concerned about something, I'm not concerned about it. Until I find a reason to be worried, I'm not going to worry. It's not going to keep me up at night. I'm not going to start practicing repelling alien invaders because someone drew a rock and says this could be an alien spacecraft coming to attack us on Turkey Day. I can't. We have enough problems on this planet already that are facts, that are truth, that we can see, I can put my hands on. And I'm not going to just start inviting fake problems or make-believe problems. I can't. And I'm not knocking you if you believe this is what it is, tell me. Explain to me why you think it. Maybe you'll convince me. Maybe I don't have all the information, which is possible. I'm not some super important guy in government where I get fed information. I'm just a dude with common sense. Common sense tells me if someone was coming to invade us from another planet, they wouldn't be in a rock that we can detect coming at us. That's just me. But if you think it is, I'm not knocking it. Convince me. Say something in the text or the post. Post something. Tell me. Try to sway my opinion. I just don't think it is anything more than a rock in space. There's a lot. Space is so vast. We can't imagine. We can't grasp it. It's just so huge. It's just so much space. We can't wrap our heads around it. Do I think there's life on other planets? Yes, I do. I think, like I said, there's so much going on. How could there not be? How could there not, one or two planets and another solar system, how could they not have life? Do I think that this life is intelligent enough to travel from where they are to where we are? No, I really, really don't. Because if they could do that, they would have done it and they would have made it known. They'd have been like, hey, here we are. We're from planet Zorp. We're your neighbors, 7 light years away. We're just coming to introduce ourselves. Something. They wouldn't make it secretive. I don't believe that. I believe that they would be right out in our face. Because if you can travel that far, that fast, you're not worried about us. We are not anything you'd be concerned about making upset or scaring. It'd be like walking outside and stepping on an ant. You don't think twice about it. That's how an intelligent race from another planet that could travel, interstellar travel, would think about us. Who cares? We're here. Just wanted to let you know, deal with it. And that would be it. I really don't think that they would concern themselves with us. If they would even come here to begin with. That is true. The earth is flat. So when this does hit us, it's just going to go right straight through us. Like an arrow. Just right through us. We're not even going to know it came because it's going to just pass right through us. But yeah, I don't think this is anything more than that picture: a rock, an asteroid, a comet, whatever. And I hope this is not keeping you up at night. I hope that when you've read this, you weren't scared for your safety. Because let's look at the other side. If it really is what they're saying, what's worrying going to do about it? What is being scared going to do about it? Nothing we can do about it. It's on the far side of the galaxy. It's not going to be here until November. Nothing we can do to prepare for it. We just got to be ready. Okay, come November, we need to be ready. That's all we can do. But I really don't think it's a bunch of alien badasses coming to pick a fight with us. I really don't. Like I said, we got enough problems on the planet. I'm not worried about something at the edge of the galaxy. We got veterans living on the street here. We got the elderly that can't afford to pay for their house or pay for their medication, or they have to choose between the two. We've got children, like in Frederick County Public Schools, being abused, special needs students. We've got wars on our own planet here that we need to worry about. We've got a government that can't work together. We have far more important problems on this planet that we need to deal with. I'm not worried about that. And number two, if this is an alien race that's intelligent, they would see this planet's got so much shit going on. They wouldn't want to be involved in it either. They would roll their window up as they pass by the planet and say, don't look, kids. Ignore it. Don't make eye contact. So let's worry about problems that are real, that we can touch, and that we know are fact. And let's not invite make-believe problems in, because that just muddies the waters and it distracts us from what we really need to do. And again, if that's what you believe, please don't take it this as I'm insulting you or I'm making fun of you. I'm not belittling you. I'm just sharing my opinion. I don't think it is what they're saying it is. And if you do, power to you. I'd be really glad to talk to you to find out why you think that. And then maybe we could have a discussion, and maybe I'll come around and go, what? I believe you. I think you're right. That could be it. But either way, I'm not trying to belittle anybody if this is your belief. Please don't think that I am. Okay? I don't want anybody to be offended. That's not my intention all the time, to offend people. Sometimes, yes, I try to offend people, but not now. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I just wanted to share that with you because, like I said, we can't talk politics all the time. This kind of brought a little levity into it. Unless, again, this is what you believe in. I don't. But I just wanted to bring that out because apparently this is going to become big news probably. And again, it's really big news now on social media because you can go on social media and say anything you want to say and people will believe you. As long as you're not talking about COVID or you're anti-Biden, then they'll block you. But if you're talking about aliens, that's fully acceptable and people will go, yeah, it makes sense to me. Kind of scares the hell out of me. But that's just me. Well, like I said earlier, there are a lot of good shows on the podcast, or not on the network, America's Pulse Network. You have Alexandra Levine, who does her shows during the week as well. And then we have the Pulse, where all of us get together on Wednesdays at 8, and we discuss everything. We have Tim Eisenberg, who's also running for a position in Baltimore County, Maryland. If you live in Baltimore County and you're in Maryland, he's a great guy, very smart guy. I like him. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I like him. He's a very down-to-earth person. He's going to have a friend raiser. So you don't have to come there and throw gabs and gabs of money at him. It would be appreciated, but you don't have to do that. It's this coming Sunday, so I think that's the 3rd. And it will be at the Bayview Bar and Grill in Dundalk, Maryland. It starts at 4 and runs till 7. So if you live in the area, come out and say hey to Tim. Talk to him, get to know him, and if that's someone you can vote for, county council. He's running for the county council. So if that's in your county, come out and meet him, talk to him, get to know him. Like I always say, you should support conservative candidates anywhere. So if you don't live in Baltimore County, but you live in Maryland, still come out and meet him, talk to him, help him out however you can. Like I said, really good guy, grounded, very down to earth. He's a family guy, so he's family first, which is important. He's been in politics for a minute, so he knows his stuff, and he's not a politician. So don't let that sway your opinion of him. He's not. He's a really good guy. He's more concerned with doing the right thing than he is about doing the popular thing. And sometimes that puts off the rhinos because the rhinos want to do the popular thing. And that explains why we are where we are. I'll be there. That should be a hook. That should be enough. Once you hear that, that should be enough. You should be like, oh, damn, he's going to be there. I'm going. And if it's not, I can understand that. The president of the Frederick County Conservative Club, Fred Profiter, he will be going there as well. I believe Brenda Cham, who was on my show earlier, I think 2 weeks ago, she'll be there. A lot of candidates will be there. So it'll be more than just Tim you can get to meet if you live in Maryland, and you can talk to these people and find out what their opinion is on the issues. It'll be a good time. Relaxing. It's not a formal event. Tim made that very clear. It's a come as you are. Shorts, T-shirts, flip-flops, whatever. Just show up, have a good time, meet Tim, meet some other people. It's a good way to spend the Sunday afternoon and get to know candidates. Yeah. So I'll be there. Again, that's this coming Sunday at the Bayview Bar and Grill in Dundalk, and it's from 4 to 7. So my show next week might be a little late getting on. I'll figure something out and let everybody know before that. But I'm definitely going to make every effort to be there. So come out and meet me, meet Alexandra, meet Tim, meet us all. We're all going to be there. And it'll be a good time. I might even bring my son so you can meet my son, all 6'2", 245 pounds of him at the age of 15. He's my bodyguard. But I might get him out there, hang out. You can meet him. He's a good kid. Most kids, I mean, the way I look at it is they're not bad kids, just bad parents. That's just how I look at things. And I'm a big supporter and a voice for children. I think that they need to be involved more. Well, no, they need to be involved as much as they want to be. They should never be pushed out like, oh, it's politics, you're too young. It's going to affect them, so they should know as much as they'd like to know. I don't think you should force it on them, and I don't think you should force them out of it. You should let them know as much as they want to know. They'll tell you when they don't want to know anymore. Trust me, my son will tell you when he's fed up with your crap and doesn't want to hear it anymore. He'll give you that 15-year-old, yeah, right, whatever. That's when you know he's done. He's had enough. Doesn't want to hear anymore from the old man about politics. Just go away. And that's how most kids are. So, yeah. Well, it's that part of the show. If you've watched this before, I share an opinion. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with what we talked about. Sometimes it has direct involvement with the podcast you just watched. This kind of has something to do with what's going on. Sort of, kind of. But once again, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can turn the show off right now and go away and go, I don't want to hear what Seth's got to say. His opinions suck. That's fine. But again, this is my opinion. It doesn't reflect the network. Doesn't reflect anybody associated with the network. My producer, I can see him. You can't. Damon Sherrod's like looking at the camera like, what the hell is he going to say now? I think he's got his finger on the censor button, so if he's got to, he can hit it really quick and save everybody's butts. No, he's good. He's probably just as anxious as everybody else is to hear what I have to say, because sometimes I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. It just comes out, and I hope for the best. But this is about the issue in Texas, and you'll find out what I mean when I read this. So here we go. Texas has every right to slam the brakes on a mosque construction, and it's not about bigotry. It's about protecting the Lone Star State's identity, prioritizing local needs, and maintaining the social fabric that makes Texas, Texas. Communities here aren't just dots on a map. They're tight-knit strongholds of tradition, faith, and independence. When a mosque proposal lands on the table, it's not just a building. It's a potential fault line in a state that thrives on its distinct way of life. Denying these projects is a bold stand for self-determination, and Texas should hold that line without apology. First, let's talk local control. Texas towns are not obligated to greenlight every construction project that comes their way, whether it's a mosque, a strip club, or a mega Walmart. Zoning boards and city councils exist to weigh what's best for their people, traffic flow, water systems, noise levels, you name it. Take the 2515 Farmersville, Texas case, where a proposed Islamic center sparked pushback over concerns about infrastructure strain and land use. The town didn't just say no for kicks. They cited real issues like inadequate roads and water supply for such a large-scale project. That's not discrimination. That's called due diligence. If a mosque doesn't fit the practical needs of a community, Texas has the backbone to say so, and that's a prerogative worth defending. There's also the cultural angle, and let's not sugarcoat it. Texas is a bastion of Judeo-Christian values, cowboy grit, and small-town pride. A 2023 Gallup poll showed 65% of Texans identify as Christian, with many fiercely protective of that heritage. A mosque, for better or worse, can feel like a cultural transplant in places where churches dot every corner and Friday night football is practically a religion. It's not about hating anyone. It's about preserving the shared values that hold those communities together. When residents in Caddy or Plano push back against mosque proposals, they're not clutching pearls. They're saying, this is our home, and we get to decide what shapes it. Forcing a mosque into a town that's not ready risks fracturing the very cohesion that makes Texas communities thrive. Security is another piece of the puzzle, and it's not a small one. While the vast majority of Muslims are just regular folks, and there are about 1.2 billion Muslims in the world, out of that number, if only 5% are radicalized, that would be about 60 million people. The reality is that fraction of Islamic-inspired extremism has left a mark. The FBI's 2024 domestic terrorism report flagged ongoing concerns about radicalized individuals, and Texas, with its high-profile military bases and energy infrastructure, isn't exactly low on the target list. Towns like Baytown and Sugar Land aren't being paranoid when they hesitate, they're being cautious. Denying a mosque can be a pragmatic move to avoid even the perception of risk, especially in areas where trust in outsiders is hard won. Now, while the other side cries foul, waving the First Amendment and claiming Texas is stomping on religious freedom, they'll point out the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Person Act, arguing it protects mosque construction. But here's the rub. RLUIPA doesn't give religious groups a blank check. Courts have upheld denials that were based on neutral criteria like zoning or traffic concerns, rather than targeting faith. A 2017 federal case in Sterling Heights, Michigan, backed the city's rejection of a mosque when it was grounded in land use issues, not anti-Muslim bias. Texas can do the same. Keep it about the rules, not the religion, and the laws on their side. Critics might also argue that saying no to mosques fuels division or paints Texas as backward. But forcing community to accept a project that project it's against will create more resentment than harmony. Look at the 2010 Ground Zero Mosque debate in New York. Pushing it through didn't exactly bring the people together, it polarized them further. Texas isn't New York, and it doesn't have to play by coastal rules. If a mosque doesn't jive with the town's character or capacity, that's their call, not some federal bureaucrat or activists. Texas stands for something bigger than blind inclusivity. It stands for the right to say, this is who we are. Denying a mosque isn't about closing doors. It's about keeping the ones already open strong and secure. Communities there know what works for them: faith, freedom, and a fierce sense of place. If that means saying no to a mosque, so be it. Texas doesn't owe anyone an apology for standing its ground. Again, that's just my opinion on that topic. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to agree with it. You can tell me to kick rocks, but that's just how I feel. Well, I want to thank everybody again for hanging out with me on Sunday night. I appreciate it. I know you have other things you could be doing, so it's very humbling. It is what it is. I appreciate it. I don't have words stronger than thank you, so thank you. Remember this Wednesday at 8, The Pulse. I'll be there. The Hammer will be there. Alexandra will be there. We'll talk about some other things. Tim Fazenbaker. And I don't know who else we're going to have there. Elena Barbera may be there again. The based mother. She's usually there. Hopefully she'll be there again. Who knows? Things can change. She might be tired of us. Who knows? But that's Wednesday at 8. And then we'll have the shows throughout the week. And I will be here again next Sunday at 7. Again, remember to like, follow, and share this page on Rumble, on X. I'm on Facebook under Conservative Corner. Share this with everybody you know. The more people that listen, the bigger our voice gets. And the bigger our voice gets, the more change we can affect. And again, like I've said before, I'm not here to change your mind on anything. I'm just here to offer my opinion and give you another perspective and maybe make you think a little bit differently. And if that happens, great. If that doesn't happen, great. I'm just glad we got this chance to talk. So let me get out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening with your families. Again, I'm Seth Eisenberg. This is the Conservative Corner. And remember, if you live your life based on principles and not a party, you're going to lead a very fulfilling and honorable life. Everybody have a good evening, and I will talk to you all later.